Hey everyone, Laurel here, Minnesota Zone 5A. We are going to do a sub-zero garden tour. It's mid-January. We just had that huge Arctic blast that's kind of hitting the majority of the country right now. Up here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, upper Midwest, we got some extreme low temperatures. Air temperature we got in the Twin Cities at least into the negative 20s. And then wind chill got to about negative 50. And we're going to hit probably a little above zero today, but it'll be a total of more than 72 hours below zero straight. I don't think the feels like or wind chill temperature will hit above zero until tomorrow, but the air temperature will. Birds don't seem to mind. They're all fluffy and chubby and coming down to the feeders. I'm very glad we have these shelters for the ferals. They've been keeping cozy this winter. There goes just startled mama cat out of there. We had, unfortunately, it felt good, real warm week right before this cold came down, and only little bits of snow since then. So we don't have as much snowpack insulation as I would have liked for extreme temperatures, but it is what it is. Oh, geez, I see a woodpecker in the snow. Passed away. The circle of life. I suppose I could knock the snow off of my evergreens like this Teddy arborvitae, but I find that they do kind of pop up so far. Not Teddy, that one's Mr. Bowling Ball. So I don't really worry about it too much. I haven't checked on the tree in a little bit. Of course, I have this wrap around the trunk. The caution exploding trees meme always pops up. I do see buds. Glad about that. Oh, I might have to put some, I see signs of rabbits, and I do see now the snow has melted enough to expose a little bit of the root flare of the tree. So I don't want rabbits chewing on that. I do see buds though. It has budded up. It is way too bright out here for me to see if that is focusing. So apologies if it is not focusing in my viewfinder. I have to wear polarized sunglasses because I can't see nothing in the sun. Now I think I can see. Yeah, so budded up. That is good. These are the coldest 2 weeks of the year on average. For us, the last 2 weeks of January, I said that weird. We're going to get, we're below average temperature for the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks. But yeah, it's winter. It's Minnesota. It's the upper Midwest. It is what it is. We're used to it up here. I've got I call it my sleeping bag coat. I have multiple down jackets for various, it's like every 10 degrees difference in temperature. I have a different jacket suited to that weather. And my sleeping bag is the one that comes down. If I were short, it would come down to my ankles, but I'm tall, so it comes down about mid-calf. Very cozy. Keeps my legs toasty. And then it insulates when I go sit in my car. It kind of insulates my seat as well initially until everything warms up. Still have blooms on the hydrangeas. Lovely allium here. Maybe I'll cut these earlier, like late winter. Usually I wait till spring to cut down the seed heads. But I'm wondering if that's maybe when they seed themselves more often. You can see they are just full of seeds. Those black or dark brown dots on there are all seeds. And they just have so far seeded themselves kind of locally around themselves. I have 4 plants that I originally planted over here. Same with the echinacea. A lot of my current echinacea is actually self-seeded from the original ones that I had planted. So I leave those seed heads up, but the finches like to eat those too. But the Millennium definitely seeds itself. And I don't want it to any more than it already has. So that might be an early spring instead of late spring job for me this year to trim that back. Got some good insulation here around the freshest planting, which is this juniper. Ooh, there's kind of a crust on the snow. Troutman juniper there, a little baby one that I got on clearance. Planted it very late, which is not great for evergreens. It's better to plant them early in the season and give them time to root in before winter, but it was either plant it or heal it in, and healing it in, it would be basically the same thing, but this is a very insulated area. You can see we don't even have snow, haven't had snow collect up against the back of the garage because it stays so warm here on the south side that it melts quickly. I've got an azalea here as well. This one's all budded up. That one is Rosy Lights. It blooms hot pink early in the year. And I did plant some additional perennials here. Normally I've been doing annuals, but I'm getting kind of tired of maintaining that. So I want some things that are low maintenance and just come back every year, including that hibiscus right there. I have another hardy hibiscus in the middle that's a few years old. I did not get to pull up my hose guide, so we have this cute little frog now sticking up from the snow. Still a good snow mound, kind of packed on top of, I wonder if that's helpful, kind of an air pocket. I planted garlic in this bed, and then I put these baskets and other protectors over the top of where I plant so that feral cats don't use it as a litter box. Of course, in the winter when it's frozen solid, they can't, but as soon as they can scratch anything up, they use it. So I'm wondering if that maybe helped insulate. I hope so, because last year I didn't have a lot of luck with garlic coming up in these raised beds, which are new because they're too high, so they don't get, my old raised beds were lower and the snow would mound up higher along the sides. They would be almost engulfed in snow, which is a very good protection and insulation from cold temperatures. So we'll see. Maybe we got enough snow early on this year that they'll be all right. Nothing is planted in these, just dead stuff. All my grow bags here. This is what I plant: peppers and shallots, and then annuals at the end of the year, end of the season. In these grow bags, I just got a bunch from Amazon and various garden centers on clearance. These just stay out all winter. I think if you can leave, especially stuff like that, then I don't have to refresh the soil as much, because all of the microorganisms and earthworms and little insects that help work the soil for you and deposit nutrients, they sort of eat the roots that were in there and leave their little fertilizer behind. So that's why I like to leave things out where I can. Same thing with this planter. I just leave that out. This is the North Pole Arborvitae that I healed in my raised bed. That will not stay there. I will pop it out. I did take it out of its plant container when I healed it in, when I planted it in here. It was really root browned, so I figured it would be better just to put the roots up against the soil rather than in a plant can. So I'll pop it out and up pot it into a slightly larger plant can until I'm ready to plant it in the ground in the spring. Won't be right away because I'll have to move some things around first. I do have some backup garlic over here under these grates and rocks in the ground. It always does fine in the ground. It is insulated enough so far every year being planted in the ground. It's just the raised beds that are iffy. This willow is, wow, this is really full of buds. So far the rabbits haven't eaten down a whole bunch yet. This is a sage leaf willow, iceberg alley here. Normally the rabbits prune this way back for me, so I only have a couple branches to cut in the spring. I'm not seeing a whole lot of rabbit tracks around out here. I do like when they get in my garden beds and leave me fertilizer, though, some free fertilizer in there. I see piles of that left behind. Otherwise, everything's just kind of sleeping. Oh, cute. I see little bird tracks over here. Squirrel tracks. I think the feral cats are well fed, or at least the two that are living in those shelters right now, so they're not doing a whole lot of hunting. I don't see many cat tracks. So while I would like them to take care of the pesky rodents that come and eat my garden, I'm happy that they are well fed and warm. This year I would be very worried about them. I worry about the other ones, but I think other people might leave out shelters for them too, or garages and sheds. And because we did the trap neuter release with 23 cats this late summer and fall, it's hopefully going to be better for them this year too. Just less generations born. This is looking pretty good. DeGroot Spire Arbovita. This was a clearance one that I planted late in the season as well. It did have a couple months to kind of root in. You can see how bad that grass is. I might see if my neighbors are okay with me hopping over and trimming that for them occasionally. And the hydrangea blooms that have been knocked off by snow are all kind of gathered along the fence here. Sometimes I clean them up, sometimes I just let them disintegrate where they are. This is a viburnum, and actually I planted its pollinator pair right next to it, so we'll see how those do. Viburnum are hardy here, so they're native here, so they're usually pretty hardy. This North Pole is looking good. I'm so pleased with how this was a clearance plant several years ago. I got it for 15 bucks. I want to say I planted it maybe 2019 or 2020. I'd have to go back and look at my pictures. And it's grown really well. I used to come out here and knock the snow off it when it was young, but I don't think that was really all that necessary. So it's just looking pretty darn healthy. Let me adjust my, sorry if that was a sound. I gotta switch hands and put my other hand in my pocket because, it's cold. Sorry, wobbly. It's slightly below zero, just a few degrees, and it's not particularly windy, so the wind chill temp, or feels like temp, is only maybe like -10. So much improved. My nostrils don't feel like they're freezing shut the second I step outside. And talking doesn't make me just cough in pain. I know, delightful, right? So lovely. Got a couple more viburnum here. This dogwood is just absolutely wild. You can really see how badly it needs to be trimmed. I did actually cut all of these branches that had rooted in down here. Last year I cut them from the main shrub, and so this year I think I'll dig them up and maybe bring them into work and just see if anybody wants. I think I did some with that around the other side too, because dogwoods, wherever their branches, they root in very easily. So if the branch touches the ground, it'll root. And then you can have another plant, but I don't need another one, so I might just bring them into work and see if anybody else wants them in the spring. A couple more viburnum here. And this is a DeGroot Spire that I planted last summer. It was also a clearance plant. It was in a little bit rougher shape when I purchased it. And it wasn't looking too great after this summer. It's not dead, obviously, but it's got a lot of dieback in the middle, so I don't know how this one is going to go. We'll see. Maybe that North Pole Arb that I have healed in the raised bed will replace this one instead. Yeah, you can see a whole lot of brown at the bottom there. I love DeGroot Spire. It has that kind of swirling leaves. They are slower growing arbs, though. Slower than many others. So we shall see. I do have this blue juniper here that's looking good. A bright juniper. So far, so good. These are all just perennials, so these all get cut back in the spring. And then I have another North Pole Arbovita right here. It's just a privacy screen, both for me and the neighbors. And it makes such a pretty backdrop if you're filming or taking pictures. You have winter interest, so when there's not much else in the landscape, there's something green to look at. Obviously, evergreens are great at that. And then even in the summer, though, it makes a great backdrop to look at the rest of the garden. So I did get a large styrofoam container from work, so I think I might fill that and put it out here as another shelter. I need to line it with something, though, because cats love to claw styrofoam. So I would have to wrap the inside and outside of the container. Oh, there's a cooler out there. I wonder if my neighbor made a shelter too. Either that's just a cooler or that's a common thing to use for cat shelters, or coolers with a hole cut in the side. Very crunchy snow. When we got that warm up last week, got up into the low 40s even one day, but we had overnight it just downpoured one night. We had a really soaking rain, which is never fun before it freezes. We all know what that means in the winter. The birds love this honeysuckle frame to visit the feeders. I see a feral out in the street there running by. We've got the tater tot arborvitae over here. I'm hoping this does well. I also planted that late in the spring. This is, however, more sheltered because it is up against the building and on the south side of the house. So things stay a little more sheltered here. We've got, you could see like the mulch is drier. Snow doesn't accumulate as much back here. Oh, there's Mama Cat. Hi, Mama. They're still, you'd think that they wouldn't run away from us, but they still do. Unless we have food, then they like us if we're bringing them food. It's like, you should know by now we're not going to snatch you. Of course, we did trap them and then, have them spayed last summer. So I guess fair. This is tiny wine 9 bark, very huge, in fact. And then my other dogwood, which is definitely smaller than years past, but I keep doing big rejuvenation prunes on this every year. And I think I'm going to have to get even more aggressive. It is a very nice screen, though. Nice privacy screen. Boy, I thought I'd have to go in pretty quick, but it's actually pleasant out here without the rain. Or without the wind. It doesn't even snow when it's 0 degrees, much less rain. Too cold to snow. Here's my verbena. This was the annual verbena that was covered in aphids. When I got back from vacation, I first trimmed it back because it was so full. I wanted to see how bad it was, but it was just infested. So not worth it. Cost me about $1.75 to buy and overwinter, and in the spring it'll cost me $6 to buy a new one. So I decided it wasn't worth it and risk infesting all the rest of the plants I had. So those are very dead right now, the aphids, along with the verbena, of course. Got all the snow piled up, man. It was so windy. We just had big drifts of snow blowing around like crazy. You can see how crusty it was. All these big chunks. These just stay covered with snow. This juniper, and it pops right back up. Same thing with the yews that are over here when they get weighed down. And these boxwood, I wish these had a good snow cover on them now. They might get pretty bad winter burn. We'll see. We haven't gotten this cold since 2019. We had a big vortex. Cold air from the Arctic coming down. The news said the news is always a little over dramatic when we get these extreme weather events, as we know. But there's an Amazon box sitting in my freaking garden. They said it is some of the coldest air on Earth coming down to Minnesota and the Great Lakes region, Chicago, and the side yard. All annuals. I'm starting to plan now. As much as I love being in the garden and being outside, I do definitely need the rest. I kind of need to unplug a little bit, focus on other things for a little while, and then by February I'm ready to start thinking gardening again a little bit more. So, well, and you can see the smoke bush tree from here. I'm really hoping that comes back next year. I'm pretty sure it has verticillium wilt. That's why it didn't drop all the leaves. Those didn't turn color naturally. They died off long before fall. So the empty branches are the healthy ones, and the branches with leaves are the ones that look to have wilt. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, hope you're all staying warm and you're not buried under too much snow this winter. Even though it's Arctic sun, it's nice to have the sun out for a little bit. So everybody, and staying safe too right now. I hope everybody's staying safe, especially my Minnesota neighbors. So we will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching.